Hello, hello, hello. How are you guys? Welcome to Monday Motivations. I hope you guys had a fantastic weekend. And do me a favor, hit the subscribe button and hit the bell notification so that you guys will be notified whenever I post videos. Help me out as I try to grow my channel here. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So, I mentioned this in last week's Monday Motivation is that I kind of started this series because, I know Mondays aren't everyone's favorite day of the week. Some people be just in a mood like,
No, God! No, God, please, no! 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 No!
and that's why I do this, to come and try to help us kind of get over that initial hump at the top of the week, right? So let's just dive into it. So this week's message is the importance of self-love. And if you guys see me looking down, I'm just kind of looking at my notes because, I'm trying to drop these gems and I don't want to forget nothing. So, the importance of self love. And when we act in ways that expand on our self love, we become better at accepting our weaknesses as well as our strengths, and we have a less need to complain about our shortcomings. So, basically, self love is about self acceptance. Now, I am a firm believer in there is always room to grow. I strive every day to try to be the best version of Fatima that I can be. And I'm so sorry that I did not reintroduce myself. For those of you who do not know, my name is Fatima Ming, and I'm the CEO and founder of Ming Cosmetics and now Ming's Boutique. So, my bad. But yes, I am a firm believer. I strive to be the best version of Fatima, of myself every day. And part of that, along with self acceptance, is also becoming aware of, certain things that, you can improve. Like, let's say, for example, you are impatient and you're aware of that and that's something that you want to work on. So it's about, don't get mad at yourself because you're impatient. It's like, okay, well, I'm aware of this so I can, actively try to get better at it. And, when you find yourself being put in situations where you have the opportunity to practice patience, that's an opportunity for growth and to be aware and to be aware enough of yourself to say, okay, I've been saying I want to get better with patience, practicing patience. So when you're in traffic, when you are on time for an appointment and they're not ready for you, cases like this are opportunities for, if your issue is being impatient, these are opportunities. So just, be mindful of it and look at it as a test, because once you tell the universe, hey, I want to get better with this, I want to become more patient, you're going to be tested on the areas that you said that you want to improve in and that you want to grow in. So, just look at it like that. And that's, like I said, that's part of self-love, is accepting of yourself, and don't be super hard on yourself. You're doing the best that you can. And just be loving and tender with yourself, And so use tests and use things that try you in a way as an opportunity for growth. Basically, and just strive to become, your best self. I'm living my best life. You can do this by acting on what you need instead of what you want, and setting boundaries. I'm gonna say it again. Setting boundaries. But before we jump into that, let's back up a little bit. Focusing on what you need instead of what you want. So, little story. I came to the realization within myself probably sometime last year that I was in a pattern, particularly within my relationships, where if I was in a relationship with a guy, a romantic relationship, if I wasn't getting my needs met, I understood that intellectually and logically, but why would I stay in the situation? Because I had fallen into a pattern where I was used to not getting my needs met, so it felt familiar, even though it wasn't what I wanted. Explosion. Asked myself, like, sis, that's not what we want. Like, why are we entertaining this? I don't know. Like, let's figure it out. Let's unpack it, because just know, like, this isn't cool. So it's like, once you become aware of something, once you can't change something unless you're willing to acknowledge it. So once I acknowledged and I understood that, we tend to want to go with what feels familiar to us, whether it's good for us or whether it feels good or not, we'll will have more of a tendency to gravitate to it because it feels familiar. And that's a pattern within myself that I had to realize and that I had to break. And I'm like, well, no, like I have to learn, I have to be more into what I need instead of what I think I want in this moment. You know what I mean? So it's like once you become aware of those things, and you have to kind of do a needs versus a wants analysis. Because sometimes what you think you want, you don't need.
What do you want? What do you want?
It's not that simple.
What do you want?
Way to test this, there's like the smaller things and the bigger things. A rule that I heard recently I think makes a lot of sense. If it's something small, like a purchase or something, like let's say it's a bag or a pair of shoes or whatever, if you come across it, wait 24 hours before you purchase it. Before you do anything, just say, okay, I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to do this impulse buy because I think I want it right now. Just sit on it for a day. And if after that day you still want it and you can, depending on what it is, of course, you can comfortably afford it, live your best life, sis. But so that's kind of like smaller things. Bigger things when it comes to career, when it comes to maybe relocating, if it comes to relationships, whether that be friendships, romantic relationships, whatever, ask yourself if 6 months, a year, 2 years from now, if nothing about this situation changes, will I be happy? Sis, you know what to do. Maybe in that moment you think that this is what you want, or maybe you think that this is the best option at the moment, so I'm gonna just rock with it. No. So smaller things, give yourself a day and figure out if you're going to move forward. Bigger things, life-changing things, relocating jobs, people in your life, things like that. Ask yourself if absolutely nothing about this situation, this person, whatever changes 6 months, a year from now, will I be happy? Or will I be looking back low-key mad at myself because I stayed longer than I should have? And then you'll have your answer. Setting boundaries. Let me tell y'all what we're not going to do in 2021. We're not going to let people cross our boundaries. Look here. Listen, hear me clearly. We are not going to let people cross our boundaries in 2021. I don't care who they are. I don't care if it's your mama, your daddy, your boss, your man, your girl, your best friend of 20 years. I don't care. It don't even matter. I don't care. You have to make your boundaries known, sis. You can't just, internalize your boundaries and then get mad when people cross them. Like, how was Houseway? Like, you can't get mad if they cross boundaries they didn't know existed. So, once you make a boundary known, and another part to that, part two, don't let nobody make you feel bad for having boundaries. Whatever those boundaries are for you. Maybe your boundary is, I'm not answering my phone after 7 o'clock on Thursday nights because that's my self-love Thursday where I'm in the tub reading with candles and my phone is on airplane mode. So don't call me, and if you do, I'm not going to answer the phone. And if that's your boundary, sis, live your best life. Live your best life, and don't let nobody make you feel bad for setting boundaries for you, whatever those may be, because the truth of the matter is, the only people that will get upset about you enforcing boundaries is people who benefited from you not having any. When people could just run amok in your life and you was just cool with it and you rocked with it, or you appeared to be cool with it because you didn't shut it down, those are the only people that will get upset when you enforce your boundaries. And I myself am guilty of that because I would have, boundaries and certain lines that weren't to be crossed. And depending on what the situation was, I, allowed people sometimes to cross my boundaries. And it's like, okay, another thing, like the previous note, I had to become aware of what I was doing. It's like, okay, this doesn't feel good to me. Why doesn't it feel good? Because it's a boundary, and I know it's a boundary, so I'm not going to keep letting this person cross it.
Nobody got time for that. Ain't nobody got time for that. Ain't nobody got time. Ain't nobody got time. Ain't nobody.
Boundaries known. Just first of all, deciding what your boundaries are, making them known, and enforcing them. Enforcing them. Have a reaction or have a so-called punishment if your boundaries are crossed. And like I said, I don't care who it is. It doesn't matter. Because if that person, whoever they may be, I don't care if it's your boss of the past 10 years. I don't care if it's your partner of the past 10 years. It doesn't matter. If that person finds value in you and in the relationship that you all have, and you make a boundary known to them because you're like, okay, I have this fence is up here at this point. I put it up for a reason, and I'm asking you respectfully, do not cross it. And, people are human, and sometimes people try it, or sometimes maybe people may be unaware when they are offending you. But once you make it known, if you want to give them one or two chances after that and it continues, they don't care. Please understand that they don't care. And they've gotten used to you not enforcing your boundaries, that they think, I'm going to just keep running amok in your life. No, 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 no. No, 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 no. And you can't, at that point, if you allow that situation to continue, whatever it is, you can't get mad at them. You can't get mad at a clown for being a clown. Get mad at yourself because you keep going to the circus. Boundaries in 2021. Set your boundaries, make them known, and enforce them. Cool? Bet. So, I think I just have one more note for y'all. Needs versus wants. We talked about that a little bit. So, don't allow yourself to get into a pattern where you're overly focused on wants, but they may not be what you need. So you kind of have to do a needs versus want analysis on kind of everything, small things, big things. It's a lot, because this is like this is your space, your mental, your emotional real estate, and you have to take care of it, and you have to protect it. And sometimes we might get caught up in, like I said, what we might think that we want. But again, do a needs versus wants analysis, and you will definitely be a little bit better off. And lastly, as far as the importance of self-love, forgiving yourself. We are human. We are all in different spaces, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. 2020 was rough for many of us. And sometimes we can get hard on ourselves. We can kind of feel like, we can just kind of be unforgiving with ourselves. And we have to be very loving and understanding with ourselves, and do our best to learn the lessons. We're going to all go through things. We're going to go through trials and tribulations. We're going to go through things that test us, things that maybe hurt us, things that may feel uncomfortable. But, beautiful things usually don't come from your comfort zone. So even if you have to go through, some peaks and some valleys, which we all will, at the end of the day, if something doesn't pan out the way that you hoped or what have you, learn to be forgiving of yourself, and just rest assured and just say to yourself, I tried my best. I made some mistakes along the way, but I learned X, Y, and Z. So if this type of situation arises again, I'll know how to handle it. So I forgive myself, and I take the lesson, and I move forward, and that's just what it is. So that is all that I have for you guys today. I thank you for tuning in to this week's Monday Motivation. Also, feel free to shop my site at mingcosmetics.com. I will link in the description the products that I am currently wearing. And also, I have a brand new TikTok that I just made. So if you guys are on TikTok, feel free to follow me there as well at mingcosmetics.boutique. And that'll also be linked in the description. So I thank you for tuning in. Please subscribe, like, and share this video to whomever, could use a pick-me-up today, and just help a sister out. So I thank you guys again, and have a wonderful, wonderful day and a wonderful rest of your week.